This is nice. This is dangerous. Good evening and welcome to the Whisky Lover Society with me, Addictive. And tonight we are looking at a Talisker, and in particular we are looking at the Talisker 57 degrees north. It is of course a single malt. It is matured in ex-refill American casks. Cost, that's a little bit of a sticky one. When I looked at my online store, it was 110, but it was no longer available. But I could get a sample, and I only paid about €7.50 for the sample. But I looked a little bit online, and I found that it is still available. It has been discontinued, but it is still available, and its cost on average is around 144 to about 150 odd euros for the bottle. Bottled at, of course, 57% ABV, and of course that corresponds with the longitude and latitude of the distillery being 57 degrees north. Of course, it is made by the sea and from the Isle of Skye. So I'm not going to make it a long video. I have a sample, and again, I'm not sure if it was a sample from a fresh bottle, a half a bottle, or maybe an empty bottle. So keep that in mind, that things can oxidize and change over time. So I just bought a small one, a lovely light golden color to it, and it's got already a little bit of a viscous, oily feel to it. When you move it around, it does look and feels a little bit on the oily side. So just a word of caution, when you do drink this one, it is 57% alcohol by volume. So be careful, take a small sip, see if you can handle it. Then of course from there on you decide. You add water to it, you don't add water to it, how much water do you want to add to it, and of course it all depends on your tolerance of the strength of the alcohol. So I'm going to start off at the full 57% ABV. Small sips, don't go, and I've seen some people reviewing some of the whiskies that especially the high ABV, they take a big old sip of it, they swish it around, and of course it's going to kill all the taste buds, it's going to kill all the taste, it's going to burn sensation, it's going to be an unpleasant sensation for you. So don't do that. So I'm going to start off with the nose. I'm definitely not going to stick my nose into it. It is 57% alcohol by volume, so of course be careful, give it a little bit of time. Like they used to say with the chemicals that we used to handle, don't stick your nose in it, give it a little bit of a wave, see what comes out before you go sticking your nose into anything that you don't know what it is. Well, we know what this is, we know it is high ABV, so we start off with the nose. Cheers. Now, the first thing that I am missing on this one, and maybe I'm happy about that, is that there's not a lot of the peatiness or smokiness. Now I tend to expect that from the Talisker. Talisker is the ones that I've had, the Storm, the Sky, the 10-year-old. There is a hint of a peatiness in it, but it's definitely not overpowering. Same with this one, but this is really nice. So the first thing that I do get is a lovely soft sweetness, but be careful. Stick your nose in it and immediately it goes into the nostrils and you can feel the burn already. So when I agitate it, the total unhealthy thing to do, the shaky, I immediately get that little bit of that harshness of the alcohol, a little bit something like a nail polish remover that strong hit of alcohol in the nose. So definitely this on the nose, it's quite strong. So, and one thing that I don't normally get, I did get it in the Octomore. I got that little bit of a salty, briny note in the Octomore. But this is the first time that I actually got a little bit of a saltiness, of a brininess in one of the Taliskers. I didn't pick that up in the previous ones that I did review, not so much as this one. So it reminds me a little bit of a soft sea spray or a misty with a little bit of a briny note. Something when you get too close to the ocean water, you get that little bit of that saltiness in it. So I get it on this one. Quite strange for me, but I'm glad that I picked it up. And then of course there's something that goes to the memory bank for the next time that I do pick up something similar. But it is absolutely fantastic. The next note that I also get reminds me of a chocolate that we have here in Belgium. It is the caramel sea salt chocolate. This is quite similar to it. That same exact smell that I get, that deep caramel, and especially when you eat it, you get that every now and again you get one of these salt crystals. Absolutely fantastic, very addictive for the people that never tried it. Find yourself some Belgium chocolate with the caramel and salt. What I also picked up with this one, it does need a little bit of time in the glass. And especially, well, and I presume on a fresh pour, it's going to be even more relevant. Give it some time, especially at this high ABV, maybe a little bit of evaporation of the alcohol. Give it some time, and then you might find something different in the glass. When I've poured this one, I do get the alcohol a lot, but after a little bit of time in the glass, that alcohol vapor seems to dissipate, and you are left with that lovely sweetness in it. Now, after a little bit of time, I also get a little bit of the smoky notes coming out, but just a hint of the smoke, not a lot of smoke. Very, very distant smoke with just a couple of molecules that just passed your nose. I also get a little bit of a vanilla note. So I do expect that to find that little bit of a vanilla note with the ex-bourbon cask. But it's very subtle and just a hint of that in the background. And every time that I go back, it becomes a little bit more sweeter on the nose for me. This is absolutely fantastic. Wow. Really, really nice. And in the end now, I get a little bit of a milk chocolate. A light milk chocolate as well. Very low cocoa chocolate. And then it reminds me also a little bit of stewed dried fruit. Oh, my mouth is watering already. So the dried fruit, we have a little bit of a combination with some figs, some pears, maybe some apple, some dates, and you put it in the pot, maybe some prunes as well, and you put a little bit of water and you just gently warm it up and you make a nice stew out of it. Absolutely, this is what I get, a nice stewy notes of it. Wow, it is nice. So, and of course we need to taste it as well. So cheers on the taste of the Talisker 57 degrees north. Cheers. This is nice. This is dangerous. Now, I can tell you, on the nose, I didn't get much of the alcohol. But on the taste, the first thing that I got is a lovely, very strong, very sweet alcohol. And then it tells me immediately that there's a little bit of a smoke in it. Absolutely fantastic. Remember, small sips. This one is definitely very strong. So the alcohol feels like it's evaporating almost immediately, and it leaves that lovely sweetness, a little bit of a dark chocolate note, a little bit of a oak coming in as well. Absolutely fantastic one. Dangerous one. Let me just try again. A little bit of a build up with the oak compared to the first sip. There's a little bit, maybe one or two notches higher on the oak on the second sip. But again, it is not really a problem for me. I think it also balances out the nice sweetness of that. So, and a lot like the dark chocolate that you have the initial, when you have the 70 or 80 or 90, even 90% cocoa, you have a little bit of a sweetness, and then all of a sudden, choop, there's a bitter notes taking over. And of course, that is also a good idea just to eat some more, because you want to get rid of that little bit of a bitterness coming in. Absolutely fantastic. Now, let me just give it one more. A little bit of a bigger sip, and it does show you that it is a high ABV. You get that sweetness, you get that oiliness, you get a little bit of a creamy note to it, a little bit more of a bigger sip, a little bit more of the oakiness coming in, a lot like a little bit of that dark chocolate coming in, and then it tells you spicy. I get quite a lot of spicy notes. It covers my whole mouth with this hot feeling, almost like a hot chili or maybe some pepper, but more on the chili side. Not a taste of the chili, but the heat of the chili. So I'm going to venture one more, just a little bit bigger sip, and then I'm going to add a little bit of water. So be brave, Gert. Cheers. Oh, that is really nice. That is so smooth, silky, creamy, oily, chocolatey, caramel. Absolutely, this is just fantastic. But I think it is a good idea, especially at 50%, 57% ABV, to add a little bit of water. Now I've got some nice clean water, filtered water, so all the bad stuff has been taken out, just water. I'm not going to add a lot first. Maybe just, I'm going to do a teaspoon of water. Remember, you can always add water, but you can't take it out. So maybe 5 milliliters. And I'm going to give it a go at a little bit of a lower strength to see what it's all about. I think that is a good idea. So immediately on the nose, it's so much softer. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. This is really nice. I do like it without the water, but I think with that little bit of a 5 milliliters of water, I really opened it up fantastic. It released more of the sweetness. It released more of that caramel dark chocolate note coming out. A little bit more on the smoke as well. But not much, just a hint of it. More a smoke with a little bit of an earthy component. Absolutely fantastic. So, on the taste of a little bit of water. Oh my word. Still a bit strong. I think I can add a little bit of water to this one. Maybe a half a teaspoon or another teaspoon. So it's still hot. But the sweetness of it is fantastic. The chocolate note is coming out. A little bit of a caramel note coming out. A little bit of a creamy note coming out. A sweetness is definitely there. Absolutely fantastic. That, let me just make sure. A little bit of a bigger sip. Less oak. More sweetness. That chili, little bite of a chili is still there. So there is still some heat in this one. So be very careful. This is a very dangerous dram. This is something that I would like to sip all day. Absolutely fantastic. Just as a quick one. I'm going to add just one more teaspoon. At some stage, you're going to have to get to a point that it's too much as well. And you need to stop before that point. So, small amount. Ooh, immediately, I don't know, see if you can see it. The Scottish mist appearing. Big cloudiness forming. Yeah, it's still fantastic on the nose. Wow. Not so much on the dark chocolate or the caramel anymore. A little bit of a citrusy note peeking out from behind. But it is really nice. So on the taste of 2 teaspoons of water. Yeah. Now, I do have a problem with this one. Wow. Let me just give it one more try and I tell you my dilemma. 2 teaspoons was perfect. I will not add some more to it. So you experiment yourself. What is the best ratio for you with alcohol with the whiskey? But this 2 teaspoons was absolutely fantastic. Now the problem is, this one has been discontinued. It's still available. I looked online and I found quite a number of shops, even here in Europe, are still selling it. 140 to 150 to maybe a little 160. The average is about €144 for a bottle. Now, €144 for a bottle, that is no age statement. Probably some color added. It is high ABV, but €144 on average is a hell of a lot of money to pay for a bottle of whiskey, even if it is so nice. And it is really nice. But I just cannot get myself to buy one. I looked at one of my stores here in Holland, where I regularly buy. They have available €144.95. I can't justify that. Not for a no age statement whiskey. I think I can buy a lot high quality whiskey for that price. Is it going to be as nice as this one? I'm not sure, but I do like this one. So for me, definitely, I would, if you have the time, if you have the money, and of course you can find it at your shop, give it a go. Maybe do a bottle share with a friend. It is really good. Well, it's really good for me. Maybe not for everybody, but this is absolutely a fantastic whiskey. So that's me on the whiskey of the Talisker 57 degrees north. Buy it. Let me know in the comment. Have you tried it? What do you think about it? And of course, remember to like and subscribe. And I see you next time. Cheers.